I'm the Commissar. We're watching Forged Alliance Forever, and you are, well, U is the first letter of UEF. Today, we have one team who, through luck and /or judgment, are entirely UEF, and we've got to see how that plays out. My loyal viewers, you know what a ladder game means by now, I'm sure. It means there's a hot team and there's a cold team. 4 players on each side. Let's go in and meet them. We're going to start with the game's highest rated player by some way. This is waffelzNoob, rated 2265. He's playing Seraphim in Mucus Brown. Moving along, we get to Terminus 619. He's Cybran, he's 1406 rated, and he's in orange. And he's opening first air. That could be good. There's a lot of tree claim around to fuel the power required for a first air build. I can see that working. In this forward position, which I'm sure will be primarily naval, we have XlebyLLiKoB, which is Russian for breadsticks, I believe. You can go through the whole South Park breadsticks. What does that make you, game, if you want? We won't, because we're more mature than that, aren't we? Anyway, XlebyLLiKoB is 1625 rated. He's Cybran in Burgundy. And last but not least, here in this rearguard position, we have Aranei, who is 1836 rated and also Cybran. He's in red. And facing off against them on the cold team, on their flank, we have ThurnisHaley, 1828 rated and UEF. He's in cyan. Moving along to their air position, this is Firv. Firv is 1711 rated, also UEF, in mauve. In the forward naval position, and of course going forward, that fellow there is Mui, 1729 rated, also UEF, in dark blue. And last but not least, this is Silly Hanabi, who is 1765 rated, also UEF, in baby blue. So we have a full UEF team here in, appropriately, the blues, versus a Seraphim and 3 Cybrans. Now the map. The map is Lena River, which has this landmass for each team. There's a peninsula, which I expect will be the role of these end players here, Aranei and Hanabi, to take. And then there are a few scattered mixes in the water and 6 islands. Now, the islands, sure, they have a couple of mixes, but the main lure of these islands at the beginning of the game is going to be these heaps of reclaim on, which is by far the biggest concentration of reclaim in the game. And no surprise, but we're already seeing drops. Oh, but Thurnis is not dropping the island. Thurnis is going straight for an aggressive drop right here on Aranei's peninsula. Whereas Waffles is going to be leaving a couple of NGs on, in fact 3 out of 4 NGs on the island, and only sending 1 on for the aggressive drop. So different strategies there. Thurnis is going to follow up his drop with a bomber, and Aranei is also dropping his peninsula, so we're going to have a bit of a scuffle here. Down comes Thurnis. Down comes Aranei. 4 NGs each. Thurnis going straight for a couple of factories, very sensible, so is Aranei. Aranei brings in a bomber. Beautiful split from Thurnis, look at that. He splits and loses not a single engineer, and his Inti comes in to pick up the bomber. Is it going to get it before there's another drop? We had a hover bomb attempt there, I think, but it didn't get off. And meanwhile, Thurnis's bomber has taken out all of Aranei's engineers. What beautiful play from Thurnis. Thurnis's drop completely survives, Aranei's drop completely denied. That's amazing play from Thurnis. However, I was about to go elsewhere, but Kleb has sent a bomber to help Aranei, and that might do some work. Down goes one of Thurnis' engineers, but Thurnis' inties are still around. The bomber comes back for another pass. It's shot down, but now Thurnis has only one engineer left, but he is going to get this factory up and start work in a second. Is he going to be able to hold on to that? We'll have to find out. Meanwhile, Firv and Mui have already dropped 3 of the 4 middle islands. Terminus is dropping this island. That's a decent number of engineers. But as far as Firv and Mui are concerned, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. Waffles, however, has this island. He hasn't really been able to make a great deal of progress here. I don't think he's tried. He's just got this one engineer he dropped running around getting reclaim. But every bit of reclaim he denies is reclaim denied. Back over here, where Kleb has sent another bomber, and there goes down the sole engineer for Thurnis. Meanwhile, though, Aranei has managed to get up a factory of his own. And sure, Thurnis has got a tank out, which is hurting the engineers, but nice lab play. I think Aranei's got the advantage over here. Thurnis has a little more on the field right now, but he doesn't have any more build power there. And both Aranei and Kleb are sending bombers to shut it down. This anti-air is going to have to do a lot of work. It survives the first bomber pass. However, in all this, Thurnis hasn't dropped this island at all because he's been too busy fighting over here. We have Hanabi trying to use his bombers to deny Terminus this island. And he might do it too. There's only one bomber, there's only one engineer left, and there's 2 bombers. But he doesn't get the bomb away, and Terminus engineer survives. Still, that's going to do it, and there's still this bomber here. Terminus is going to have some work to do to get this island. Hanabi's also bombing Waffles Island. Thurnis has tried putting out another NG, but look at this. Aranei has got more than enough to deny it, and these RTs and Hunter assault bots will shut it down. Meanwhile, this is obviously a naval map. Who's got navy? Thurnis has navy, Mui has navy, and they've both got a decent amount of production, but look at Kleb. Kleb has gone fully into the water, and he has quite a large navy heading over to try and deny Mui. Mui's also got this little naval outpost here. That's nice. I wonder if Kleb knows about it. He doesn't. And how is this fleet of subs going? Now, Mui's going for frigates, Kleb's going for subs. And frigates can't shoot subs, but subs can shoot frigates. So Mui might lose quite a lot here unless he's careful. Like, a torp launcher here would indeed be a good idea here. He's building one. And putting out a couple more subs would also be nice. He's still working on a frigate here, though. And Mui is losing these subs as Kleb's frigates. Mui is losing these frigates as Kleb's subs do the dirty work. However, this torpedo launcher is about to go up. Indeed it does. I think that'll probably be enough to drive Kleb away from here. And indeed it is. Kleb retreats. But now, Kleb has found out about Mui's island, and this is a lot of frigates, but Mui has a torpedo launcher here too. Kleb has actually dropped the island and is trying to get up a T1 PD. But it looks like Mui's got more build power on hand and will get up his PD first, so though that's a good little idea, it's going to be denied. Over here, Kleb is trying to focus down these naval yards. Waffles joins in the fun with quite a large drop of Zuis and a couple of NGs, but, oh, this is going to be painful. Oh, I thought it was going to drop and do a lot of damage there when it died, but it didn't. So this is quite good from Waffles. However, this PD has gone up just in time, and unless Waffles moves these units and all these frigates, they're going to counter the Zuis too. The Zuis move forward, they take out, but they're all dead. The drops are all denied. However, Kleb still has a decent army around here. Where by army, I of course mean navy. Now, we mentioned that this island hadn't yet been contested. Well, now it's being contested. Thurnis has got some engineers out here, but Aranei has dropped and is building a factory. Mui is retreating with these frigates. I think he's planning on, well, I say planning on, resigned to losing these naval yards, and that is not wrong. Aranei, meanwhile, has up this factory. He's producing labs on the island, and there's nothing really for Thurnis to defend with. That said, Thurnis has got a lot of the island's reclaim. He's kept these mexes for quite some while. There won't be that much reclaim left for Aranei to pick up on the island. And over here, Kleb has indeed wiped out Mui's naval yard. So it looks like Aranei is going to take this island, but he's got a little bit of work to do to clean it up. Now, during all this, Mui has gone T2 Navy, and his answer to Kleb's subs is this torpedo boat. I would prefer to wait for a destro as well until I went in, knowing how many frigates we just saw taking out these naval yards. And I think Mui agrees he's retreating. Is he building a destro? He'd be mad. Yes, he is. He'd be mad not to. He wisely doesn't want to take the fight just yet. Now, it looks like Hanabi is going for a drop on Waffles Island here. With one T2 pillar and two T2 flak tanks. Because he's well aware that the biggest threat to this drop is going to come not from the land but from the air. There is a T1 factory here, but the pillar should be able to easily lock that down. So this is slower than it might be because there's only one pillar, but it's going to clear the island. We also have a drop flying over here, and the anti-air on Kleb's navy is trying to deal with it, but it's going to get through. It lands with this time two pillars and one flag on Terminus Island, and we can see another drop coming in over here. Mui is going to engage. Okay, that's a lot of drops. We have pillars on Waffles mainland taking out T2 mexes over here. Mui's T2 navy, which now does include a destro, is forcing Kleb back, and it's supported by subs from Thurnis. Waffles has a navy here, but it's not doing much. And we also have a drop landing here and taking out T2 mexes off T1 from Hanabi. So we've got to look at both these drops. I've got to try and keep them both in frame. And we've got to see what we've got going down from the T2 navy of Mui. Gunship defense from Waffles. While Waffles loses some fleet over here, Kleb just running away from Mui's navy. Over here, Thurnis has brought his comm onto the island. Over here, the drops have been taken out. And Kleb is coming in to defend his navy with his comm, who now has Torp. Mui advances, but Thurnis falls back. Over here on the island, Thurnis also falls back. He's under bomber pressure. He's got nothing supporting a naked comm. Okay, maybe he doesn't fall back. And we've got a strat coming in for Mui's navy, but I think that should be going and hitting... Is that going to get much done? And we've got ASFs from Firv, so that strat goes down. I think that was a mistake. That could have tried to do more damage elsewhere. While all that was going on, Aranei has dropped down here, and he's got this little raiding party, but I don't know if his NG's going to survive to set up the beachhead it wants to. Look, there's just a reclaim force coming in from Thurnis here. But these might get some work done. There's a mech dead here. Reclaim wars. Poor NG, he was just doing his job. And Thurnis is rebuilding, but he did lose a mech here. Is this mech going to go down? I think it is. That would be a nice pickup if you could get it. And he does. how's the naval battle going over here? Well, Hanabi has T2 Navy and Waffles doesn't yet, but this is a lot of torp bombers from Waffles. And one torpedo boat, one destroyer. I've noticed a lot of people going for the torpedo boat and destro combination recently when they've played UEF, and have I been underestimating torpedo boats? I almost never build them unless I know there's an immense sub-threat against me. Waffles also sending T1 bombers over here and gunships. This could be pretty good, actually. But Mui's bringing in his T2 Navy with shield boats and destros of his own. That's a lot of destros. And while I commend Waffles' attack, I don't think it's going to get much done in the face of this. And combined air from Mui, Hanabi and Firv is going to drive it back. The shield goes down, but Waffles has been forced back. Over here, Aranei has also gone for T2 Navy, but Thurnis is going to try and counter it with a shield boat and an awful lot of subs. Okay, and one destro, but mainly an awful lot of subs. And Thurnis is going to bring the pressure. 2 Salems, but this is a lot of subs, and the shield will have absorbed a decent amount of damage. One of the Salems is down. If the other goes down, I think Thurnis should just focus the HQ, and that could be a big win. Torpedo defense is going up, unsurprisingly, for Aranei. And he's focusing the HQ, nice. Kleb sends a bomber to help out, but there's only one T1 bomber, and the shield pops back up. This could be a problem for Aranei. He's building T1 torpedo defense, but it's getting destroyed as fast as it's built and faster. The NGs are going down, and I don't think that Salem, sure, it's nearly finished, but I don't think it's going to get out, and even if it does, it won't have the hits left. No, boom. It's cancelled. And the HQ is down, and now this can go to town on Aranei's units over here. Nice play from Thurnis. Meanwhile, Mui's Navy has come back over here and is chasing Kleb's comm down. Sure, Kleb has the torps, which are nice, and he has a decent T1 Navy to support, but he's only now getting out his first T2 by the looks of things. Oh, he's got a destro here. Oh, someone is drawing. It's Kleb. He's drawn a nice little circle there. Why? I don't know. Maybe he's telling Aranei to get back in the water here. Anyway, Mui is advancing and trying to push Kleb off this island with cruiser fire. And speaking of these islands, we now have 4 out of the 6 islands in the hands of Hot Team. How's Eco looking? Well, Hot Team are ahead by about 100, which is reasonably significant. Oh, we better look at this. Is it huge? Not in a game this size, but pretty good. Anyway, torpedo bombers from Aranei, and there isn't any cruiser fire in here, so these are going to get work done, and they are eating Thurnis' units, but Thurnis has taken out all the build power here from Aranei, and he's now bringing in a cruiser, and Firv is bringing in ASFs. That could be what they need, but how much will Thurnis lose by then? A nice micro from this Salem from Kleb. As he turns it so it gets, and Kleb brings in the Navy to try and save Aranei, who is indeed getting back into the water up here. Is Thurnis going to fall back? I think he is. He's now got the air defense, but he hasn't got a defense against this much Navy from Kleb. This might do it though, but Kleb is also pressuring here, and he has got this Torpcom, who even at T2 stage is not to be sniffed at. Waffles is pushing in with a significant T2 Navy over here, and with Mui's, where's the minimap? There's the minimap. Sorry if you were shouting at me about that. Anyway, with Mui's Navy all the way over here, Waffles can probably do a decent amount of damage against Hanabi here if he pushes in. Mui might have to come back and help out, and it looks like he's going to do just that. Yes, he is. How much damage can Waffles do before Mui gets in there? A couple of destros left, and Waffles doesn't actually have that much T2 in here. Another wave of torp bombers from Waffles could be good. No cruisers here, but they back away. What did they see? And the pressure is being applied. That naval HQ would be a lovely target, but Waffles is falling back. Maybe he doesn't like this navy that he sees coming here from Mui. Maybe he thinks he'll get more done over here. On the left, Waffles trying to get bombardment damage on Hanabi. On the right, Aranei's got back in the water. He's got a T2 naval HQ again, but Thurnis has pushed in. Aranei defends with torpedo bombers. And Mui is trying to sandwich him in as Firv takes the air fight over here, forcing Waffles. Oh, that's a loss for Waffles there. And Waffles is allowing himself to be trapped in a bit by Mui's navy, but Xleb is bringing in navy to help. Over here, Aranei's lost his HQ again. Xleb sending his navy this way as well to help. Mui falls back over here. Waffles pushes forward. Decent force from Waffles. Mui and Hanabi might have to regroup to defend. Aranei is going to be forced to rebuild yet again, but does Xleb have enough to push Thurnis back? It looked like he did, but now we've got yet more coming in from Thurnis. And Xleb's got a lot of destros here. Meanwhile, Waffles gathers up, and Xleb sends some army over here as well, and by army I mean navy. Look at the production that Hanabi's got planned. Mui is massing navy. And Thurnis is taken out at last. But at what cost? Aranei's going to have to rebuild again, and cruisers being used by Waffles to try and deny Mui here, but Mui pushes in. Now, the Suite famously told us that everybody wants a piece of the action, but that doesn't look like it's the case here. Xleb has just given his navy to Waffles to let Waffles handle it. But, while this is an immense amount of destros, this could be a problem. Mui has gone T3 and has brought in a Neptune. Neptunes are like the best navy-to-navy unit in my opinion, even better than T3 sub-hunters, because that's how I feel anyway. Tell me if you disagree. We have some torp bombers coming in for the defense from Hanabi, and Waffles is pushed back a bit. He's going to have to come up with an answer to that Neptune. He's going to have to come up with it fast, especially supported by shields. Neptunes are very powerful. But Waffles does have more navy here. I think he can just use it. However, Waffles disagrees with me, and Waffles is like 1,000 higher rated than me. 1,200 higher rated than me. So, he is not somebody whose opinion I would disagree with, and that's what he was waiting for. He was waiting for a battleship. He has a battleship of his own. He too is at T3 and he's bringing it in. The shields go down and Waffles is forcing damage on Mui, but Mui now has a second Neptune in there, which could be pretty painful for our hot team navy up here. However, they're splitting apart there. Aranei back into the water yet again. And Xleb has brought his comm over here to help out, and that's going to be good with its torp, because Thurnis was relying a lot on T1 submarines, and now it's Aranei drawing little circles on the map. While that happens though, Thurnis pushes in again with his navy, including the battleship. And where's Mui gone? Mui's come all the way back here. He needs to come back forward here, otherwise these units of Hanabi will just be sacrificed. Eco's now dead level. And look at that, there's only 30k difference in mass collected over the whole game. That's amazingly close. So very level on Ecos. However, with the naval fights around here, look at that reclaim. They really need to take advantage of that. And speaking of that, look at this. Waffles is taking advantage of that. Very good from Waffles. And he's pushing at last. But is he pushing enough? I feel he needs to swarm in and take out some of this build power. And Hanabi is also at T3 Navy. He's building summit battleships. So we now have 3 Neptunes and a Summit from Code Team at T3 versus just 1 battleship, 1 Seraphim Hawthorne. Hawthorne? How would you pronounce it? Anyway, only 1 of them, however you would pronounce it, therefore waffles. Okay, make that 2, but still. The T3 forces are building up for Mui, but he needs to send them in. They're not doing anything while they're back here, and waffles can just bombard Hanabi freely. Meanwhile, over here, Firv has sent a single broadsword, and that might be enough to evict Aranei from this island. He's also sent some NGs to help just, you know, clean it up, convert some mexes. We've got a reclaim war going on here. That broadsword's going to do good work, and Thurnis is again massing his navy, and Thurnis as well has gone T3, though I don't think he's actually producing any T3 navy just yet. Meanwhile, how's Waffles' push going? Waffles is charging in, he's getting damage here, lots of torp bombers from Hanabi, but this is a big army. I keep saying army instead of navy, it does have cruisers in, they're only a couple. But just the sheer amount of general AA from all the frigates and destroyers is going to hurt those torps. And we have Terminus coming in with ASFs for fast support and torps of his own. But these battleships are where the focus has to be, and it is indeed where Cold Team are focusing their fire. Waffles is bringing in a 4th, and where's Mui's navy gone? Well, there's some of it. One of the Neptunes is down. Is Waffles going to break in, but there are more battleships on the way from Hanabi. And with all this extra support from Waffles, that could make the difference. Are we going to see Code Team being cracked here? Mui still being a bit reticent with moving his T3 navy in. I just think that he could push a little harder. And obviously, while there is a little bit of ASF here, it looks like Firv has more, and he has these broadswords, but he doesn't want to take the air fight because it would happen over Waffles' cruisers, and that would hurt. But now Waffles is just beginning to lose a little more. We see 4 battleships here, and Hanabi almost has that much by himself. Take that back. He loses 1. Is there going to be... There needs to be some more reclaim action, I think, from Hanabi at the least, but the engineer... And there is. Good. Those engineers aren't going to last long, but... Oh, it's a Sparky. That'll last a tiny bit longer, but not much longer. This engineer is doing sterling work. Look at that, 760 reclaim already. But more battleships coming in from both sides all the time. I've been focusing here thinking we're about to see something crack and break through, but it just isn't happening. This is a war of attrition like nothing ever before. Except maybe, you know, the First World War or something. That lasted quite some time, but during that time, what's been happening? Well, Firv has been focusing on a Novax, and that Novax could change matters. Lots of juicy targets up here. Exposed T3 mexes, exposed PGens in the air grid, exposed naval HQ for Waffles, taking that out with the Nova. Oh, well, that's the HQ, but yeah. Taking that out with the Novax could be big. And Waffles just keeps the pressure up. Would it be worth, in Waffles' position, building a nuke on one of these battleships? Several battleships have nuke launchers. He could, like, keep one battleship a bit back, build a nuke on it, and then drop a nuke right here, and that would just clear up this entire navy, stop them producing more, at least stop Hanabi producing more, and Waffles could just walk in. It would be a big investment, and he'd basically have a battleship out of it for a little while because he couldn't risk it getting destroyed, but I think that would be what he needs to break through. Instead, he's chosen to swarm in Zoes. Do I like that? Honesty, not really. Firv also starting work on a nuke, so Firv definitely preferring the longer range options here. Big wave of torp bombers from Hanabi. They go for this battleship. Are they going to get the damage done? Well, they only do about half its hits to it, and they're all shredded by the cruiser, so I don't think that was worth it. I don't think there's enough firepower from Hanabi, and I think there's enough defense from Waffles, also, you know, these ASFs, that torp bombers aren't the play here. This might be, though. We have an Atlantis nearly finished from Mui, and with its extra torpedoes, Atlantis are the cheapest experimenters in the game, and they have decent torpedo attack, so send an Atlantis over here, and suddenly Waffles is on the back foot, and it looks like that's the plan. Indeed it is. Good work from Mui. Maybe he'll be willing to commit this all a bit more. Look at these, he's just out of range doing nothing, and that's a mistake. That's a mistake, he shouts to a player who's 1700 rated. But to be fair to my criticism, what else is Mui really doing? Nothing really. Speaking of what else doing, where's the Novax actually going? Anyone see the Novax satellite? I don't, but I do see a laser being constructed by Kleb. But I'll tell you what else I saw. I saw Thurnis advancing on Aranei yet again, and look how much Aranei has rebuilt. He's at T3, he's got a battleship. So has Thurnis. But I think Thurnis has just a little more support here, but Aranei's production is all right here. On the left, in comes the Atlantis. But this is a lot of battleships, and also Kleb is bringing battleships to help out Waffles, so the fight is really building up here, as if it weren't built up enough already. That's a lot of torp bombers from Aranei, and here they're going to do the work, because I'm not seeing any air response from Thurnis or from Firv. There's a cruiser out here, but I don't know if that's going to really do the job, and Aranei could just take it out and then go for the battleship. Over here, we have carriers in here from I've forgotten his name, Waffles, and the carriers, as well as being able to provide good anti-air, have these tactical missile launchers on them. And sure, summits have a little bit of TMD, but it's not that great. But I don't know which side my money is on in this particular engagement. Over here, look at the torp bombers. I think Thurnis might have some trouble. He's brought a second battleship in, but Aranei's also brought a second battleship in. And the torp bombers, they have indeed taken out the cruiser. They're just carving this force from Thurnis apart. Lots of shields from Hanabi. This is good play, and there aren't any shields on the other side because they have no UEF. Whereas, of course, Code Team all UEF. Very honourable, very noble. Everybody supports the UEF, don't you? Don't you, my loyal viewers? As I've said before, I usually play Cybran and Seraphim, so let's pretend I didn't actually say that. And Thurnis's air fight over here. Firv tried to counter the torp bombers, and Firv has massively lost air because both Aranei and Terminus have air at T3, and now they've just cleaned up Firv forces. That's pretty brutal. And Aranei might soon be in a position to push. Thurnis does have another battleship coming out. However, I mentioned Aranei had an air grid, but while this is going on, his air HQ is under attack from the Novax, which is doing damage and has taken out the shields. So that could be a problem for Aranei if he doesn't get some shields back up, because that Novax could be a problem. Kleb's still working solely on the laser, and Firv's nuke is completed in terms of the silo and is well loaded, but he's not alone. We do have a... where did I see it? There it is, a sneaky little nuke sub out from Kleb over here. So, that could be a bit cheeky. But back to the naval fights. I said Aranei might have a chance to push, and he agrees. Look at this, he's coming right in on Thurnis production, but Thurnis has an Atlantis of his own, and Mui now has 2 Atlantis over here. Another wave of torp bombers from Hanabi, and they are going to get work done. That battleship goes down to the torp bombers. Still, the carriers mean that it's going to take a lot for them to get more work done. Feels, however, like Hanabi and Mui still do have a slight advantage, especially thanks to these 2 Atlantis. And the Atlantis here, what answer does Aranei really have to this? There aren't any torpedo units in here, and Thurnis also has the nukes up. Focusing the HQ down might be a good strategy for Aranei, and indeed he does it. Look at that, that's battleship fire coming down on the HQ. If you can take it out, but this battleship's about to come out. Oh no, that's the battleship. No, it's not. No, it's not. But this Atlantis is working through Aranei's battleships. Look what he's losing. And this battleship, and Thurnis has these 2 battleships. I think Aranei might have overstretched. So maybe I was lying when I said he could push, or maybe I just misjudged it. Torpedo bombers from Terminus coming to help out, and that Atlantis... Where's the other one? Oh, it's back here. That Atlantis is the obvious target. It takes a bunch of hits, but the torpedo bombers aren't enough either. This Atlantis could surface, it's got amazing anti-air, and take them out, but Mui does not choose to do so. Another pass of the torp bombers, and the Atlantis here is down into the red. Aranei does still have a couple of battleships up here, but the Atlantis is going... He's taken out the HQ. He has managed to take out the HQ, but there's still a battleship here, there's still an Atlantis here, going to town on his fleet. And Aranei is beginning to fall back. Will Thurnis be able to rebuild? And Thurnis is going for a second Atlantis. Over here, the attrition commences, but you know what's even better at long range fire than a Novax, like this fellow here, is a Scathis. It doesn't seem very well shielded, and this is a bit of a risk. But Terminus is going for it. There we go, there's another shield being queued up as we speak. And I don't think that if the Cybran shields are assisted, 1 Novax will get through it. So this could be a problem for Cold Team, but they absolutely know it's there because the Novax is floating over it. Eco's still about level. Hot Team ahead in total collected eco, but Cold Team ahead in generated eco. Is this Scathis going to go up? And as if that weren't enough, Firv has a second Novax to join the party. Anyway, I think we better get back to the Navy. On the right, Thurnis Atlantis is holding the line pretty much alone, and Aranei is massing up a lot of battleships. So what can the battleships do against the Atlantis, which is underwater? More torpedo bombers on the left from Hanabi, and there are now 3 Atlantis from Mui during the fight. Look at this horde of battleships. Waffles is actually being forced back by the looks of things. Wave of torp bombers from Aranei coming in. It's going for the Atlantis, it must be. This battleship is also under fire from the multiple battleships from Aranei. Boom! So both hit at the same time. Down in one pass from the torp bombers, the Atlantis is slain. Down in a volley of hits from the battleships, the Summit is slain. Thurnis has a second Atlantis up, but the torp bombers go straight forward. Is it going to survive? I'm not sure it is. That said, where's the air response? There's the air response. Is it going to be in time? No, it's not. The Atlantis goes down. Up here, Waffles is now all the way back here. And it feels like this defense has been successful. But this defense seems far less successful. Sure, Aranei's lost his torp bombers, but 2 Atlantis, they more than paid for themselves. And the HQ's out again, and the Atlantis corpse construction yard is out again. Look at this. This is brutal from Aranei. And over here, the damage continues not to be done by waffles, so more success on this side than on this side for the hot team. And more Zooey spam supporting the Navy from... I've forgotten his name. Waffles, that's it, Waffles. How could anyone forget Waffles? The Atlantis are pushing in from Merv. Mui. Firv and Mui. Mui and Firv. Not Merv and Fui. That would be weird. Anyway, Mui, Free Atlantis, working in here, but look at the damage that Aranei is getting done. This is brutal and I love it. Ground fire on the Atlantis, and it is sort of working from Waffles. I think we need to see, I was about to say, another wave of torpedo bombers, and we get it. In it comes. One of the Atlantis is down to ground fire. And Terminus builds... So what's he built? I'm going to guess a Soul Ripper. I guess he thinks he's got air. Wait, no. What am I talking about? We saw it earlier. He's built the Scathis, which is now decently shielded. And this could be quite bad for... Oh, now he starts a Soul Ripper. Way to make me look silly, Terminus. Now he starts... Anyway, there's the two Novaces here picking off his mexes, but they're going to need to do something about the Scathis, which is obviously targeting the Novaces and the nuke. Is it going to be able to break through? That's a lot of shields there from Firv. And the volley of Scathis fire hits. The shield is heavily assisted and the nuke goes off. Where's it going for? Well, it's going for Waffles Navy, and this could mean that we have an opportunity for a massive, massive breakthrough here for Mui and Hanabi. Because obviously there's no nuke defense here. We're in the water. Scathis might break through. Look at the shields going down, but there's that one heavily assisted shield. Anyway, back up here. Oop. Where's that nuke? Boom. That'll hurt Waffles quite a bit. Over here, this Navy can now just push in, although there's still quite a lot of battleships here. Over here, Aranei is bringing all his Navy in. He's bombarding Thurnis, but more to the point, he's going to be able to hit Mui's production back here. So who's going to get more damage done first? And that must be, yeah, it's Kleb's nuke sub. Nuking the Navy for Coal Team. That could give Waffles a chance to hold. But Mui is going to be in trouble here as Aranei's Navy sideswipes in. His comm is still in the water. He needs to get out of there. This is a lot of battleships. And there's that nuke coming in. Let's get a nice cinematic shot of that. Boom. Poor old Coal Team. And we have a Soul Ripper coming in to finish the job from Terminus. Meanwhile, the Navy from Aranei is doing the job, but we have another nuke, this time from Firv, I think. No! Thurnis has two nuke subs here, and they're going for Waffles production. That could really hurt. But the Soul Ripper focusing its fire on a battleship. But there are the nukes. Pain for Waffles. Soul Ripper not really getting all that much damage done, and we are seeing... Are we seeing an air response? Yes, we are. But Mui's HQ is down. That's going to be painful. He's trying to defend, but he won't be able to help Hanabi out now. This Soul Ripper only has... Oh, that's bad from Terminus. He's just letting his Soul Ripper be eaten for only 5k damage. I hate it, my dudes. I hate it. And Waffles now has a decent fleet of sub-hunters, which these summits don't have an answer to coming in there. And Mui is losing his entire fleet, and while the battleships bombard his base. This is mad. But we have to look elsewhere, because Kleb has finally finished his teleporter and is going for the classic Cybran play. Over here, though, the Scathis cracks the shields around the nuke and the Nova Seas. Hanabi launches a nuke there. We'll have to look to see where it's going later, but I don't think Kleb's actually going to achieve anything here. This is terrible from Kleb. Sorry, my dude, but what did you achieve with that? Over here, the shields are down. Where is... Ow. And ThurnisHaley is here. ThurnisHaley is into the yellow. One shield goes back up. Is it going to be enough? Where's that nuke going from Hanabi? I think it's going over here. And meanwhile, while that's been going on, Mui has finished a Mavor. But the Scathis is still raining down. The Mavor must be targeting the Scathis. But let's have a look at the nuke as it smashes Kleb's production. Boom. I say Kleb's production, it's now Waffles' production, but the damage is done. I say that, the damage is sorted and the HQ is still there. But the Mavor fire is hitting the Scathis. And the Scathis fire is breaking through Thurnis deep into the yellow. Firv slightly less into the yellow. The shields are down over here, which I haven't been talking about while this has been going on. But the shields are also down on the Scathis. And Terminus takes a direct hit from the Mavor. That is wild. One of the Novaxes is down. The other has only 1,700 hit points left. So this is going to be pretty painful. But meanwhile, Aranei's navy has come in to smash up Hanabi's production, having dealt with Mui's. Is this Novax going to fall victim to the Scathis from its last round? But this is the last round because the Scathis is dead, remember? It falls down. It survives. 102 hit points left. And the Novax survives. That's insane. While all that's been going on, Aranei has established a beachhead here with a decent number of engineers putting up a bunch of factories. Why the air factories, which are not producing anything? I don't know, but he has. Oh, because he doesn't have any land tech and he wanted the Cheeto engineers. Interesting. Anyway, he's spamming Zeus, Medusas, T1 Arties into Thurnis's base. Will that get anything done? I don't know, but maybe. And look at this. That's a huge eco lead for a hot team. They are now 600 ahead. But will that last? Because the Novax is smashing into what used to be the old base belonging to Terminus, and his air grid is down and out. Novax, other thing, Mavor, that's the word. The Novax is on Aranei's air grid, and this could be painful. Are you ready for some pain? That hurt, but there could be more. The shields are down. Boom. Air grid? What air grid? That is painful. Back to Hanabi's flank, though. Hanabi has lost all his naval production, and look at all these torpedo bombers cleaning up what's left of his navy. So, Hot Team has complete naval dominance, but there's a Novax and a Mavor and a big bunch of nukes. Look, we've got this nuke here, no, the nuke over here died. We've got the Mavor. Naval dominance or Arty? Who's gonna win? And if we have a brief overview, we see more circles being drawn here. That's Kleb drawing. Why is he drawing circles around this naval factory? Because it's paused. That's why, maybe. Can Aranei afford it? A lot of torp bombers going to clear it out there. Who's blowing up? What's blowing up? Oh, they've seen Waffles in the water here where he's hiding. Are they going to try and take him out somehow? Oh, that's what was blowing up. SCUs to the Mavor fire. These torp bombers are just landing. They're going to die. Don't like that. And the Navy here is getting good bombardment work done. I don't think these mechs are going to survive very long. But Waffles has been targeted. That the loss of APM and the loss of a 2200 rated player could be horrific for Hot Team. Is there any SMD in the area? Yes, there is, and it's loaded, but I don't know if that covers it. Let's have a look. It does not. Waffles might think he's covered by the SMD, but he isn't. The Mavor is also ground firing him, but he's deep under the water. The Mavor won't hit him there. But you know what will hit him there is a nuke. And where's that nuke? Well, it's here. I don't think that's actually going to get stopped. I think we're about to see Hot Team's highest rated star player getting sniped. He starts walking when he sees the nuke, but it's too late. Oh, he says. Very well, you might say. Oh, Waffles, suddenly you are dead to a nuke. Aranei is going to inherit everything. Hanabi laughs, and so he should. But Aranei, I was going to say something about the eco, but we can't tell that until it's all settled down. Aranei still has a 600 eco lead. He has complete naval control. He's got this beachhead on the island. He's bombarding their bases. But what he doesn't have is a Mavor. What he doesn't have is a Novax. Hanabi is also going for Novax. What he also doesn't have is a nuke. Well, he actually might have some nuke subs floating around somewhere. Kleb had some. He'll have inherited those. And what better way to turn naval dominance into land dominance than naughty naughty, walkie walkie? What else would you expect to see where there are 3 Cybrans on a team? There are some Salems walking out of the water. But the Navy is just doing the damage here. Hanabi's flank going down. Thurnis main base going down, and that's mainly to the Navy, I think, rather than to this little beachhead. Though this is quite bold over here, isn't it? I'm not sure it's going to survive or get much work done though with these T2 point defences. But how are those Salems doing? Well, Mui's obviously a little worried because he's using Razor-Seals as the answer to them. These are eco. He's walking eco into Salem in an attempt to destroy the Salems. He destroys one. Is he actually going to lose a Razor-Seal? I don't know. Yes, he is. Another Salem goes down, but the battleship fire is going to kill this Raz-SCU too, and I do not think that that's worth the price. 2 Razor-Seals for a couple of Salems. This RT defense is a much better choice. But still, he's got to kill them soon, otherwise he'll get to the Mavor, and so the Raz-SCUs swarm forward. But the eco that Coa team are losing is horrific. We now have a 2-1 lead for Aranei. But again, how long is that going to last when there's a Novax here? You look at the shields being put up in a configuration to protect from the Novax fire. And there's a Mavor. The economy is very decentralized now, which means it's harder for the Mavor to do damage. But these P-gens will be a good thing to take out, and the Mavor absolutely will. Look at it breaking through.
Strategic launch detected.
Who's nuking and where? Hanabi is nuking, and he's going for Aranei's comm. I don't think that's going to get through. There's an SMD here with 4 shots in it. If they coordinated and shot that with the Mavor first, then it would work, but I don't think it's going to get through. However, the Salems have been stopped, and so the Mavor keeps firing. And Hanabi's work on the Novax is going slowly, but it's going. I think he's mainly focusing his eco on the nuke. And yeah, look at this. All of this is dead apart from this, which I think Aranei might have forgotten about. Imagine trying to deal with the APM to handle all of this. This is going to be very taxing. Is this going to be a Billy play from Thurnis? Is this going to be a Telly Billy play? It might be. I'm surprised the Mavor didn't break through here. Where's it firing now? It's going for the SMDs, that's wise. And Hanabi finishes his first Novax. He has a lot of Nova Cs planned. And this is interesting, we have Yenzines coming in, Seraphim hover tanks from Aranei. And in sufficient numbers, they could get work done. But that's a lot of T2 point defense going up for Hanabi, and so I think the Yenzines on their own won't be enough to handle it. With these Salems, because Salems outrange T2 point defense, they could, but the Salems are all the way back here and not getting work done. Over here, another big wave of Yenzines comes in, heading for the Novax, but we've got T2 point defense going up, and we've also got these broadswords from Firv. And the broadswords are quite a good answer. Sera T2 flak does float, but Aranei haven't chosen to mix any in, so the broadswords are a perfectly fine defense. The Yenzines are getting a bit of work done over here. That T3 mix is going to die. But they're not going to get much more done. The broadswords continue to fire. And are we going to see an air response from Aranei try and take these out? Looks like we might, but Firv retreats. And are we going to see the air fight go down? Ooh, that could have been a bad turn for Aranei. He's got more here. But obviously they've got to watch out taking the fight over these carriers, so Firv doesn't commit. And Mech Marines are now the answer to the Yenzines, as well as the broadswords. Mech Marines from Hanabi. What's Thurnis asking is stealthed. This, yes, well it is stealthed, he's just scouted it. That's a lot of T2RT. Presumably to defend from possible experimental pushes. Is he going to try and burn an XP here? That's a lot of T3 from this T3 air factory. Haha. But some gunships, my dude. That's a lot of T3 NGs over here from Aranei, and he starts work on a Mega, which will definitely outrange that. The Yenzines have all been crushed here, but the Salems might get work done. However, these broadswords can answer the Salems, unless Aranei brings his air force around here. What's Aranei built experimental-wise? He can't have finished the Mega, he hasn't. I actually haven't a clue what he's built. Tell me? No. More T1 RT spam, but against this amount of T2 point defense, I don't think it's going to get anything done. And these UEF fellows are proving a hard nut to crack, aren't they? How can Aranei break through? He's got the eco advantage, he's got the map control advantage, he's got the everything advantage except for these Nova Cs and for that Mavor. The Mavor isn't actually really doing that much when the eco is so distributed and Aranei can just rebuild it as quickly as it's destroyed. Thurnis though, he's got the Billy. He's going for T3 so it builds fast. I don't know, and he's just got these Raz SCUs to provide him power for it, and that's it. That's quite fun. Again, the Salems push in, but what are they going to achieve? They outrange this, but I think we need to see a bit more T2 RT here from Mui. I nearly called him Merv again. Have I done that like 1,000 times? The airfight is taken. The airfight is taken. Who's going to win it? Because there's a wave of strats heading for the Mavor. But Firv is going to win the airfight. Not a single strat gets it shot off, but look at these whalers coming in. But now where's Aranei's AA? Nothing. And look at all these SAMs. Those whalers aren't going to get anywhere. This is just a giant mass dump for Aranei. Okay, this is a problem. Masses, Mui, and he's not wrong. That was a huge, huge mass gift. Look at that. That was just 35,000 mass. that Aranei just gave as a gift to Mui. I think that was a mistake. Aranei massing his Yenzynes here. I don't know if he's really going to get much done. However, the Mega is finished, and the Mega is now coming in. It's taken some damage from something already. Possibly from this Novax? But in it comes. Those gunships, now that we know that Firv has won air, they will be a lovely counter to that Mega. There's basically no anti-air support here for it. It would just die if Firv sent the gunships, and Firv looks like he is sending those gunships, which in my opinion is wise. But how can Aranei break in? Like 3 Megas popping out of the water at the same time here, if he just built them here, that could work. He does still have Seratech up here from Woofers, so like a bunch of tele SCUs could do the trick, beaming in here and shooting up the Novax. But the gunships just take out the Mega, and I think they'll go on and take out this entire base, because sure, it's got an immense amount of T2RT in there, but what's T2RT going to do against gunships? And this is a lot of maths that he also had this TML bank here. That's fully loaded. Has he forgotten this TMO bank? What was it going to fire at? What could it range? Oh, nothing really. Okay. So it feels like this whole area here has been a big waste of mass for Aranei. He tries another vector with these Yenzynes, but there's a lot of T1 PD in this space, and I don't think they're going to get any work done. Meanwhile, Thurnis has finished his T3 and Billy. When's he going to fire it? What's he going to do with it? I want to see a Telly Billy, maybe? For some reason, I consider Telly Billy much more fun than Cybran Telly Mazer Snipes. Why? I don't know. It just is. It's maybe because it's not seen as much? This could be nice, though. The Yenzynes are going for a run-by rather than attacking the base. And if they can get in here, there's a decent amount of stuff they could blow up. These mexes, these mass fab farms. The Air HQ would be a nice pick if the Yenzynes can sneak around here, but can they? We're going to have to find out. Thurnis is sending his SCUs in defense, which is risky because that's his entire eco. But they'll be able to take the Yenzynes. However, they're going for the run-by. This one's under the shield, and if it takes out one mass fab, the chain reaction will probably do the rest. Boom! Look at that! One mass fab farm completely destroyed. And this one singular Yenzyne could kill this entire mass fab farm if it just takes... Look at this! This is pretty painful. Still one of them remaining. Is it gonna die? Is it gonna die? Is it gonna be reclaimed? Close but no cigar. I love a bit of a reclaim war. And this Yenzyne could still do some work. More are coming in, and now there's a bit of anti-air support to them, but the anti-air are out of position, and so Firv's broadswords are able to do the dirty work. Meanwhile, Thurnis advances. Maybe he's going to Billy the Navy? We do have a nuke sub here now, and it's fully loaded. And this Sarah battleship also has a nuke on board. Is he going for nuclear fire to break the stalemate? NGs did do the job and reclaim that Yenzyne in the end. Nice work. More circles being drawn. This time... Oh, it's going for the nuke sub. This could be a very painful loss. That was Hanabi's nuke launch here. And it looks like Aranei realizes the risk and breaks with his battleship and nuke sub. Is he going to lose either or both? He loses a lot of SCUs, which is going to hurt, but he keeps both his nuke sub and his battleship. He's not going to be too unhappy about that. But he just can't break through. And Aranei has now got a cloak on his comm and has brought him to the centre of the map to hide. I mean, there's a strong last place anyone's going to look vibe to it. Forward comes Thurnis. Are we going to see a Billy? And where are we going to see a Billy? And where's the Mavor firing? It's still just picking off stuff, but look at the Novak's group. They're just getting slightly more and more each time. There are now 4 of them there. This is the problem with the UEF, isn't it? You just can't break them. Aranei is being completely evicted here. He's trying to put up a little more there, but it's not getting anything done. What's he doing over here? That's a lot of engineers. But then, that's an... How many engineers is this? That is 454 T1 engineers on the map. That's wild. I say on the map. Just right there in that little corner. Does it tell me how many units he's got? Look at that mass overflow. That is... Okay, so this could be a problem for Aranei. He is not able to spend all his mass, not by a huge, huge margin. And with 450 T1 engineers parked there, they'd do something towards spending it, wouldn't they? He could put up any number of game engines in seconds if he could only concentrate the build power. And the Yenzymes keep coming, but I cannot help but feel that they are not the answer. How are they going to crack this insane UEF Turtlefest? And the eco for Aranei is slowly being picked away. The Nova Seas are everywhere. They could probably do a better job by focusing his power, actually, and... Firv is also going for the Billy. We have double Billy play, but what's it going to do? Are we going to see Telly Billy? Maybe, but why have they not gone for it? Thurnis is just standing here. He hasn't fired a single shot with his Billy yet, as far as I'm aware. Another big swarm of Yenzymes, but it doesn't... Why are you making us play this? Says Thurnis. I assume he's saying that because he thinks that they have lost. But with this increase, that's how 5 Nova Seas. I don't know if they have lost, you know. Aranei has only 1 comm. He could be sniped. And if they can just take out his eco, then there won't be any more things to, Oh, and there's the Billy. Oh, that's a lot of Salems, and everybody thinks that they're rude. They don't know what they are. Are they boats? Are they tanks? They don't know. They don't care, but they're gonna be a bit more dead. Several Salems taken out by that Billy. Thurnis had basically no mass killed before. Now he's got 11k mass killed, so that's a delicious Billy hit right there. And Firv's broadswords come in to take the rest out. See, I think that the Salem play was better than the Yenzyme play, but is it going to be enough? At this stage, probably not. In come the broadswords, in come a bunch of Raza CUs, which I think is still a mistake. The broadswords will deal with them just fine. The Billies will deal with them just fine. Is Thurnis loaded again yet? Not quite, but nearly. Firv still not loaded. Mui wisely retreating, but Thurnis again goes for the Billy defense. Boom. That's now 22k mass killed for Thurnis with a Billy, which is brilliant. But the Salems are at last beginning to break through. Is this finally what we need to see? The nuke from Hanabi hitting the Navy here. And if it takes out the anti-air, that means that the broadswords from Firv can come in and defend against the Salem. There is some anti-air in here, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Down go the Cybrans. Down goes the Navy. This is a lot of pain for Aranei. And have a look at this. He is horrifically power stored. Not only can he not spend the amount of mass he's making, he's only making 400 mass, and he can't spend it because all his power has been taken out by the Novaces and by the Mavor. So these Novaces could have answered the question for Core Team, despite being trapped in this tiny portion of the map. Let's just look at their viewpoint for a second. They just see that they have this much. There's another Billy. And again, the Cybrans. They would have been the answer a little while ago, but now there's a Billy. Now there are two Billies. They are not the answer. If Aranei had only thought of this like 15 minutes ago, he would have been able to get in there, break the Mavor, maybe break the Novaces. But now, he hasn't got the eco. He's only got 200 eco now. Can he even spend that 200 that he's got? He actually can't. This is crazy. Imagine having 200 eco, only 200 eco at an hour into the game, down from 1,200, 1,800 even, and not being able to spend it, and Firv is joining in the Billy fun, and it's like there's just nothing that Aranei can do. But he did say, we have another wave of strats coming for the Mavor. Is it gonna get through? And do they know it's coming? Yes, they do. Firv sends out his air. This wave of strats is desperation, and it's not going to make it. I am coming more and more to the conclusion that despite the map control, despite the equality he used to have, Aranei has lost. Is it a throw, though? You tell me. Because the Mavor was a good play. I think the Sats are doing more than the Mavor, says Hanabi, and I don't disagree with him, because they've been able to target mexes and power much more quickly and efficiently than the Mavor has, with such a decentralized eco on the part of Aranei. Oh, and there you go. Waffles is agreeing with me. I like it when high-rated players agree with me. It means I might have said something sensible instead of just blathering, but now this must be Aranei's last-ditch attempt. 3 nukes going out from Seraphim battleships, heading for Hanabi's base. Can they take it out? Is he loaded? Taking out the nuke, taking out the Novaces, these will be amazing. He is loaded. He fires a shot. He fires another shot. Another SMD fires another shot, but it loops around, but it gets it! That's right from Waffles. Aranei he needs the APM, and he's handling so much. I would have been dead long ago. Was it his last ditch attempt? He's still got nukes in this sub. And on that, 2 more nukes. The nuke bombardment continues. Will he be able to break through? Will Hanabi have enough? I hear pops as SCUs explode around the map as the Mavor and Novak's bombardment continues. And more nukes from Aranei. But the SMDs are just there. He has not been able to exhaust it. And he fires his, what I'm pretty sure is his last nuke from the nuke sub. That one's blocked. Are we still loaded? We're still loaded here. Oh, Aranei, my poor dude. I think that is that. I think he has exhausted everything he could have done. 95 mass per tick. He has the entire map, and he has 95 mass per tick. And Aranei resigns. That was wild. The Novax is one of the most irritating units to deal with when you're on the receiving end, and today it was surely what won the game. Those Novaces just carving through Aranei's eco. As soon as he fired those nukes, he had nothing left. Tell me what you thought in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm TheCommissar. I will see you next time.